Good evening, folks. This is Andy Pedraza with Special Effects Academy. We're on the start of the session in the Forex trading room for January 31st of 2021. We will be going through our usual agenda. Take a look at the prior week's results, currency strength meter, fundamental announcements, a look at the major pairs on the daily charts, any setups we see in progress, and a few words in conclusion. Starting with the ledger, no change to the long-term ledger, fractions of a percentage point. We still have 4 trades open as we closed out the week, with the pound JPY being added to the mix. And, well, that's where we are right now. Intermediate term ledger, same thing, no significant change in the open balance. We've got 1 trade open with the pound Aussie, which is starting to carry a nice chunk of profit. On the short-term account, we did have a little bit of a pullback as a few trades closed against us, but we remain with a couple of trades open which are showing promise. So this week, we'll see whether the dollar continues trending, which is my expectation, and also the pound. So there's some really good opportunities in the market right now. We'll look at that when we take a quick peek at the charts very shortly. Notes and opportunities for improvement. As I said, the dollar and pound pairs are trending very nicely. The dollar is dropping even further, and COVID and Biden are pretty much top of the news. The pandemic for obvious reasons, and Biden with the market waiting to see exactly what impact he's going to have on the economy. Relative strength meter for the month and week, if I may direct your attention to the rightmost column. So we've got a full month behind us now, first month of the year gone. The key movers were, and I'm going to go with percentage only for the month. Gold dropped almost 3%. Silver actually went up for the month, 1.5%. We've got an almost 2% rise in the pound JPY, which is awesome. We're trading that one right now. USD JPY is up 158%. And those are pretty much the bigger movers on the month. I should add that Euro pound dropped a little bit over 1%. So we're seeing again pound strength coming back into the market. For the week, the bigger mover was silver, which went up 6%. Silver had been negative for the month, and it ended the month with a bang, recovering all the losses and coming back into a profit for the entire month, or a gain, I should say. Well, a profit for me, I hold silver, but for everybody else, a gain on that one commodity. No other significant movements. Pound JPY we covered already, so that was the bigger mover of the week in the currencies, followed by the USD JPY at almost not quite 1%. The yen started weakening last week, and I still haven't really dug into the causes for that, but we did see all the JPY pairs retrace. Fundamental announcements this week. It's a busy calendar. We've got the Australian interest rate decision tomorrow at 10:30 p.m. So we'll likely do our evening session later to just combine that into one. We've got the employment change out of New Zealand on Tuesday afternoon. We have we do have the Bank of England interest rate decision, but that's been sort of a dud for about a year now. So I don't think it's going to have any significant impact. So I'm going to skip that one. It's very early in the morning, very inconvenient time, 7 a.m. for me. So I will pass on that one, but it's there if anybody wants to trade it. And of course, Friday with the non-farm payroll out of the US and the change in employment out of Canada. With that, we move into the charts. Commodities, oil is maintaining its most recent gains and is significantly above $50. I think it was 53 and change as the week closed. So we can see that oil continues to either gain or maintain its position, depending which week we're looking at. Major pairs, the euro dollar was mostly flat for the week, but definitely finding support, and it looks like it's poised for another trip towards the top. Pound dollar, same thing. It's flat at the very top of the chart, breaking out. And again, the pound is gaining strength across the board. The dollar is losing strength. So I would expect this one at some point to do a significant jump up. USDJPY, and here's a brilliant opportunity. I still have to dig deeper into why the yen weakened, but this is the $1 pair. I think it's the only one that moved significantly in the dollar's favor in the last week. It had three bullish days in a row after being flat for the first two, and it crossed multiple levels of resistance, including the Ichimoku cloud. I don't think this situation will last, so this is a selling opportunity if you're not already in the trade. So we'll be taking a look at this one as the week kicks off. USD Canadian, same thing, but not as deep. It did find support at the bottom of the cloud, and on Friday, it bounced back down. So it's still a good selling opportunity. I think we have a trade opened on it anyway, at least one. So we will be keeping that one open. But if you're not in this trade, now is a very good time to sell. USD Swiss, flat for the week. Also a good opportunity to sell off if you're not already in that trade. Aussie dollar, deep retrace back to a previous level of support, but it's still very much near the top of the chart. It had a bullish day on Thursday, so recovered somewhat from the previous losses it had taken against the dollar, but now it seems to be wanting to go back up, certainly not wanting to go down. Kiwi dollar, same thing, a little bit of a drop at the middle of the week after a couple of days bullish, then stopped and just went in both directions for a while. It's still at support and very likely will continue heading up. That's it for the dollar pairs. Aussie Canadian, deep drop into Canadian strength, Aussie weakness on Friday. The rest of the week was pretty flat and it's still tracking near the top of the chart. Euro Swiss has been erratic for about 2/3 of a year at least, and not looking like that's changing anytime soon. So it's just zigzagging across the cloud, but not giving us any significant opportunities either in potential profit or directionality. Euro pound, as I mentioned, the pound gaining strength. It did break support for the first time since May of last year, has already tested the bottom of that new resistance level, and now it really could go either way. It still looks like the pound is holding on to its own. There's not a whole room for a trade there, though, 150 pips perhaps. So we are looking at this one closely, but not inclined to trade it just yet. Euro JPY, we are near the top of the chart. This was a loser on the short-term account, I think. So it did go against us there and was a key reason why that account slid back this past week. But again, we're in multiple other trades that are looking good. And this one is actually giving us a good opportunity once it starts going down again. So keep an eye on this one. It's probably going to be a mover pretty soon. Euro Canadian is still in a rather wide but nonetheless sideways channel, and it's in the middle of the channel, so really not giving us anything. Pound JPY was the breakout of the week on both yen weakness and pound strength, and it did hit a previous level of resistance that it hadn't approached in more than a year, certainly more than a year. So we're looking at a breakout of the top, and if this yen weakness continues, we're already in this trade. It's actually evolving very nicely. It's breaking out of a wedge, which you can't see clearly here. You would have to zoom out to the weekly, but this is a wedge break, which again hasn't happened in quite a while. Aussie JPY tracking near the top of the chart, so we're waiting either for a breakout or a bounce. Euro New Zealand also at the extreme. It's at the bottom in this case, and we're waiting for that support break. I would like to trade this one, but it tends to move hundreds of pips in a day when it starts moving. So this is a very, very difficult pair to trade If you're wrong, you're going to be wrong big. If you're right, of course, you're going to be right very big as well. But I want to see a confirmation of support being broken before I jump in. Pound Canadian did a masterful job the entire week going up, except for Friday. It went down maybe a third of the way from where it started the week. Yeah, about a third. So still a nice bullish week. Nice gains on the pound Canadian. We did get taken out of a trade at profit on the retrace on Friday, and we're probably going to be looking to jump back in. Pound Swiss at the top of the chart, very strong level of resistance. So we're waiting for it to break out. As strong a level of resistance as that is probably going to be an equally strong level of support once it breaches. And last but not least, pound Aussie. This was the most battered of all the pound pairs, and that's why it became my favorite. I figured that bottom level of support was going to be strong enough that we could place a stop loss below that and simply trade it back up whenever happened. We're carrying about 300 pips on one trade alone on the pound Aussie, and we've got another one open at profit as well. So this is looking pretty good, breaking resistance, and we'll have to see what the new week brings us. And hopefully it continues going up and away. That's it for the chart. Setups in progress. Of course, the pound, as mentioned multiple times, continues recovering, and also mentioned the dollar continues losing ground. The Australian dollar, it's at an extreme point on pretty much all the charts. So one of two things is almost bound to happen. It's either going to break out and go even more extreme, or it's going to bounce. My money is on the bounce at this point. I don't think the Australian can continue strengthening much further, and it's due for a correction. That doesn't mean it's going to go into a hole, but I think it did too much. Japanese pair, the yen suddenly weak as of the past 7 or 10-day period. Not sure why exactly. I have to investigate a little bit, and not sure for how long, but be prepared for that to turn around. There is no fundamental big reason I would be aware of it why the yen should be faltering right now. And the Canadian pairs, the Canadian is finding support, and indeed on Friday started going into strength. We'll have to see if that continues into this week, but it's certainly a currency to keep an eye on. That is it for the regular show here. And my parting words are about attitude today. Attitude does more for you and your wallet than knowledge, experience, or luck. I turn away a lot of people when they try to join the academy or buy one of my products, and I brag about it. I'm bragging about it now. I don't need the money. But the main reason I turn them away is they're clueless. They think the markets are a magic money machine and I can teach them how to never lose. That's the bigger reason. But the second reason, it's all about attitude. And it affects otherwise great prospects. If you have the wrong attitude, you're not going to get ahead. Some people expect things to go wrong and they're always right. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, a self-sabotage. I can teach you guys many things, but a bad attitude is not something I can correct. You're going to have to work on yourself. I can only point it out. I am very vocal. If I see somebody with an attitude like that, I'll say something, trust me. So the law of attraction is very real. If you're thinking negative stuff, that's what the universe is going to serve you each and every time. So think about that. And my best wishes for a great week. We'll see what everything brings us. Any comments or questions from anyone before we drop off? Okay, folks, thank you very much. That's a wrap. I'll be sending an update out very shortly and talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.